back. It's a very sad thing I have to say. But 30% of the winter wheat harvest crop is gone. The oats are gone. Farmers are reporting that they've lost 25% of their calves. Wheat prices, wheat futures, the projections of wheat just skyrocketed. It's just amazing. Now, anybody who goes to my specific Facebook page can see the reports where I'm getting this information from. So God knows I'm not going to get this information from the nightly news. They're so busy trying to prove their own memes. It's like they're trying to destroy America by stupidity and ignorance. You know, I can't tell enough people stock up on food. I can't even barely tell, really, face to face, just one. You know, in the Bible it predicts hunger and starvation in the end times. The Bible predicts that God is going to kill off the animals and the fish. You can only bury your head and you can only stick your head, I don't know how to put this. If you could stand up in the spirit and tall enough to get your head above the clouds would be just all puffy and white and beautiful. Anybody that's taken an airplane ride knows what I'm talking about. So then what? Can't say I didn't try to tell you. You can't say I didn't try to tell you. Truth be told, the wheat harvest, the winter wheat harvest, of course, is... What is winter wheat? So many people didn't know. I didn't know what winter wheat was. What winter wheat is a down south, as far north as Kansas, they're able to plant. What they do is they harvest their wheat in the fall, and they go ahead and till their fields and plant again, and it's a winter wheat. What happens is wheat is a grass. Most people don't know that. Wheat isn't wheat as wheat, it's grass. And we're literally eating the seeds of the grass. That's what wheat is. Now the older people, they probably pretty much know that. But the kids, they don't know that. And what happens with grass in the wintertime? It just goes dormant, and and the ground freezes. The wheat seeds, they go dormant just like they would naturally in the wild in the winter, and then when spring happens, then of course they germinate and they grow up. Well, they did. They did that just like normal this year. They started growing, and all of a sudden we get a May blizzard, a very out of season blizzard. The average growth here till was 9 inches. The blades of wheat had come up 9 inches. Government predictors were predicting a bumper crop. Not so. Blizzards wiped out wheat fields in western Oklahoma and Kansas. Reports are that the whole state of Kansas lost its wheat harvest. Its winter wheat harvest. Its first crop of wheat for the year. It lost it. Wow. Sun's coming up too far north. It's not warming up in the day. On a sunny day, it's just not warming up. Here in Oklahoma, and I took a trip with my aunt. She was coming south. Mom sent me down south. I wanted to go down to Oklahoma, so I left, and after school was out, I went down south to Oklahoma, and I can remember when we got to Kansas, we stopped at a gas station, and I got out, and the heat, it was like a wave of heat. It was like I got out of the car and I was like, it was so much of a changeover. Well, that was in May. Am I going to make a prediction? If I'm going to, I'm going to extrapolate. With the sun cooling off, we're not going to have as warm a summer as people are thinking. I've already seen summers over the last few years where the temperature never got above 100 right here in Muskogee for 10 years. 1 year did I see what I would consider a semi-normal summer for Oklahoma. Temperature actually reached 100, over 100 several times. Last year the temperature got to 97. One of the first years when I got here, the temperature it never went over 94. That is not normal, or not normal for my lifetime for Oklahoma. It's a sign things have cooled off. Now, at the time, I didn't know why it was like that. I didn't know it was a warning sign. I didn't understand it. I just thought, well, God is good, Otherwise, my electric bill for air conditioning in the summer was less. Now, sing a song, people. It's a sign of the time. According to the Bible, if Jesus didn't come back, man would destroy himself. Why? Well, I'll tell you why. Because there are nuts out there blaming people for this kind of weather. People ain't got nothing to do with this. Outside of making crazy ass predictions. Do forgive my cussing. But your ass is crazy, that must mean your head's crazy. Actually, I don't care much about cussing and swearing. Cussing ain't Cussing is not a sign that a person is bad. So, I had a thought about stuff like that. The devil doesn't come to Christians cussing and swearing. So if I'm cussing and swearing, you sure enough don't got to listen to me, but I guarantee you the devil ain't coming to you cussing and swearing. He gonna come to you talking nice and sounding smart and sounding all wise and speaking softly and all kinds of stuff. That's why so many Christians are swayed by the devil, because they think cussing and swearing is the worst thing you can do. If that's true, see ya. In the meantime, I'm not going to warm the sun up. In the meantime, not going to stop the star like into a mountain burning with fire falling into the sea. I just hope it shuts up all these preachers that think they know all this. They got a voice in their head. They think it's God. I'm going to warn you one more time. God ain't going to speak to you as a voice in your head. He's going to speak to you like he did with Jesus. This is my son in whom I am well pleased. And those standing round about thought it was thunder, and others thought it was an earthquake. He made the ground rumble when he spoke. Old Testament, who was it, Eli or Elijah was fleeing from Jezebel, and he hid in the mountains in a cave. And the wind came up. God set foot on the mountain and the wind came up. But God was not in the wind. And the rocks were breaking and God was not in the breaking of the rocks. It was probably an earthquake. God wasn't in the earthquake. And a still small voice spoke out of the wind. But God wasn't in the wind. Moses went to the top of the mountain, and God came down and wrote his 10 Commandments in stone. But at the top of the mountain there was thundering and lightning and smoke. I wrote an article for my blog, an old blog that I had a long time ago. I said, God's not going to speak to you through your head. He's going to do things so everybody else knows he talked to you. When God speaks, things shake, the ground quakes, things break. Stop listening to the voice in your head. Get your heads out of the clouds and look around. And remember last year and the year before and the year before that and the year before that, and start comparing. Things are different. Teach your kids. Things are different. It used to be. You parents need to get scared. Your kids will get scared. Don't point fingers and blame somebody else for the son going quiet. Blame yourself for listening to idiots saying otherwise. I started predicting cool weather starting back in well, actually 96. Well, it's here. 21 years later, it's here. I figure you got 6 months, because come next fall, wheat and oats and your grains, the things that were so inexpensive, ouch, are going to go up in price. I got a Bible verse that says food's going to go up. Bushel wheat for a penny. You know, we're sitting there thinking in today's terms of a penny, but a penny was something. 2,000-3,000 years ago, what's the inflation rate on a penny? 2,000 years ago, 3,000 years ago. Do the math. The prices are going to be astronomical. This is just a harbinger. God is going to be throwing harbingers at the world from now on. He's going to throw harbingers at the world so often, you people are going to get used to harbingers and forget again. There are several solutions being offered out there. One of the solutions is arrow farming. I can show you that. Give you a snippet for the sake of pointing where you can look for it. Here I am on YouTube. Arrow farming. And now let's see. Containers, 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 containers. Here, let's do it this way. Arrow farming in a container. Crop growing. I think that's what this is. First one.
Hi, and thanks for joining us today. What we're taking a look at here today is the first crop of basil that has been planted in the very first grow truck farm, which is a 40-foot shipping container that holds 6,825 plants in 3 rows. And this is basically the first transplanted basil from babies. Just kind of want to give you an idea. And What's really neat about this is really in about 30 square feet. So it's kind of neat. You can see the plants are growing very well. Everything's really healthy in here.
Get it? No, said. Click.
Just early transit.
I'm
To
back.
find better shelter.
It's 5:05,
One with thick
6:45 a.m. on 2017.
and plenty of food and water. But if you spend too much time outside in the fog, you're toast. You focus on a low yield nuclear detonation like those
I'm shocked.
Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The world's nuclear
The sun is coming up so far north.
powerful. Today, warheads can inflict thousands of times more damage.
Remember, that's east.
Experts believe that low-yield bombs are the kinds most likely
That's
to strike terrorists. The longer you stay outside, the higher
east-northeast.
the dose. But the environmental radiation intensity also decreases over
Huh.
time.
I didn't bet so far. I don't.
As a function of when you
I-
step outside.
I'm speechless.
From the detonation, how long you run before you reach better shelter. And
This is the window the sun should be coming up in.
while you're out there. Dylan simplified the calculation by assuming that you are totally exposed while running to a safer shelter.
This direction is.
Such as limited shelter.
Well, it should actually be coming up from right about there.
Down to a single critical number. The ratio of the time you spend hunkering down in your first shelter to the time you spend
Here's another interesting thing. It's cool that the sun is coming up that far north.
with a variety of shelter options and transit times. The results surprised him. For low-yield nuclear detonations, you can
Why isn't it super hot outside? Because the sun's cooling off.
surroundings. If your current shelter is poor and higher quality shelter is less than 5 minutes away,
This direction
I
is.
suggest that you should run there as soon as you can. Once in your shelter, take off your clothing, shower.
Is it what?
90% of
Let's see, south southeast.
scrubbing or scratching the skin. And don't use conditioner, only shampoo or soap.
Let's see.
As it can bind to the radiation.
That would be
Then
south.
put contaminated clothes in a plastic bag, seal it, and keep it far away from other people. Plan to stay in your shelter for 2 weeks before you can go outside.
Southeast.
You have a poor shelter, but higher quality shelter is about
Let's see.
further away. You should
East.
get to that higher quality
East,
shelter
southeast.
no later than 30 minutes after detonation, depending on the size of the city.
It has to be south southeast.
It could save between 10,000 and 100
You know, these are all just all. I mean, I could
reported online.
get out my compass, but since the magnetic pole's moving, I doubt if that would even be
How to avoid fallout.
accurate.
Fallout is a mess of raw material, soil, that is vaporized
I'm reminded of an old song.
and sprinkled as dust and ash across the landscape. After
People get ready, Jesus is coming, soon we'll be going home.
More shelters, which include about 20% of houses, are constructed of lightweight materials and
Jesus Christ is King of Kings and Lord of Lords.
are thick brick
I've said.